What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Mother's Day to all of my mothers out there. Anyone who is, grieving a loved one or having a difficult time with this holiday, my heart goes out to you. If you're estranged from a parent, it's very hurtful. And I just want to surround you with virtual hugs, love, and light. Speaking of, that made me think of Brian McKnight and his just controversial comments regarding his own family, his own biological children. So I wanted to address, what he said. He made his own YouTube video. It's about 5 minutes long. And basically what he says is that, he didn't abandon his children. He goes on to talk about the lawsuit that his daughter, Briana McKnight, actually sued him for defamation. He was saying that, she had an inappropriate relationship when she was a minor with a cousin in the family. And the more that Brian McKnight talks, not only in this video, but in past, IG posts and things like that, it makes him look worse. I don't know if he understands that, because if your daughter is a minor, then she can't consent to a willing relationship with anyone, especially someone who is, older in the family, a cousin or not. And the fact that he would defame his own daughter instead of stepping up as a father to protect her is heartbreaking, right? And so he goes on to give the details of the settlement that he gave her $318,000 on $1 million insurance policy that, I'm sure her lawyers probably advised her to take the money. But Brian, he talks about, well, she didn't ask me for a public apology, and she didn't. He was basically victim blaming his own child, his own daughter. And he had a newborn recently. Okay, here he is really quick before I go into the newborn. On the left is his new family that he is just praising and lauding, in social media, saying that, he was never inspired before with the relationship that his previous wife and the relationship that he had his previous biological children with. Okay. And it's just, the whole thing is really disturbing. It really is disturbing. On the right are his older biological children, his Brian McKnight Jr., Briana, and Nico and Clyde are the names of his 4 biological children who were Black, who were with women who are from previous relationships. Okay. So, like I said, considering he already has a Brian McKnight Jr., and Brian McKnight Jr. actually has a son, named him Brian McKnight III. Why? I don't know. People do crazy things. When you have parents, estranged or not, you still love them, right? So here he is with his new wife, Leilani, and he names his newborn son Brian. And he took to social media just saying that, this is, the person that he wants to carry his name, his namesake. He wants him to, carry on his legacy, completely dismissing Brian McKnight Jr., Brian McKnight III, Briana McKnight. I mean, he has all these children in previous relationships before that do carry his name, that do carry his biological DNA. And for him to treat them so poorly, especially in the public eye, it's truly troubling and disturbing and heartbreaking. And for him to make that video on YouTube saying that, well, why didn't my daughter, ask for a public apology? She was probably heartbroken, Brian. I mean, when your own father talks about you so poorly in the public that you have to sue him for defamation, I mean, nobody would want that. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I can't imagine what that does to her emotional well-being and to her psyche. You know what I mean? And then Brian, he goes on in this video saying that, well, he changed his will the very next day, and he only wants to include his newer children with his wife, Lilani, who are his stepchildren. Okay. So here we have Brian McKnight Jr. on the left and Briana McKnight on the right. And, even when I went to Brian McKnight's IG, he completely erases his biological children from, his IG. He's like, oh, I'm a father to Jack and basically his stepchildren with Lilani and his newborn Brian with Lilani, but completely eradicating and dismissing and erasing the biological children that he made from previous relationships. And even when asked about his music, right, people would ask him about his music. And Brian McKnight's like, no, I was never inspired before. And, I never felt anything before. And I'm thinking, do they ever cross your mind, Brian? Anytime? I mean, he really did. He went back at one, and started all over again and started a brand new family and just completely pushed out and dismissed his previous children. And I can't imagine how heartbreaking that is and how they feel, like parents, it makes me so sad because that's the most important job in the world. And I don't think that people realize the effect that they have on their children when they push them aside like that, when they hurt them so badly, Like, for instance, for her to go to the court, I mean, she must have felt just completely alone in the world, and for her to demand a public apology from her own father who would defame her when she was a minor. Like, she was a minor, Brian. Like, you are negligent in your responsibility. I'm surprised that he wasn't sued for, criminal neglect or abandoning his child. But, I mean, as we know, there's countless literature and countless research that shows that Black girls are not protected, or the courts don't really side with them when it comes to protecting them and their bodily autonomy. But that's another video for another day. But it does make sense as to why she, sued for defamation as opposed to criminal neglect and abandonment. Because if you neglect your children, I mean, that's a felony. There's parents who have gone to prison for the neglect of their children if they have been abused, whether it was older cousin or not. That's a crime. So, but I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just saying what I know. I know people, my friends, who have had parents go to prison for not protecting them from predators. So for Brian to go on social media and basically alert the public to his own personal failings, that's pretty telling. It's eye-opening. So here we have, with his stepdaughter, with Lilani, he buys her a brand new car, and he goes on his post, social media saying, Jules, I became a girl dad because of you. I couldn't have asked for a better daughter. See, that's what I mean. Like, that is heartbreaking. That's just like pouring salt into the wound of Briana, who not only is your daughter, but she's named after you, and she goes to the same school as Jules. So he's like, here's to you, Jules, the perfect daughter I always wanted. That is just a knife in the wound, in the heart of Briana. And you know what? Keep Briana and Brian McKnight Jr. lifted up in prayer, you guys, because having a father like that, not only casting you aside and dismissing you, but also making these public posts with children that aren't even his. They're not even biologically his. And for him to just say completely, disown Brian McKnight Jr. by naming his newborn Brian, or saying that, now he's a girl dad with Jules, when there is a Briana McKnight out here with your name and your DNA, it's really sad. So you guys let me know in the comments what you are thinking, your thoughts. Like I said, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I will bring you new content. Talk to you later, Aces. Take care. Bye.